Okay, everyone, we are live. So, first of all, thank you all here in what I like to call the Brady Bunch Squares for joining us tonight. Um, Without actors like you willing to give up your Saturday nights to read plays, important plays, then this wouldn't be possible. For those of you who can't see me because my video is not there, my name is Austin J. I am the artistic director here at the Pharmacy Theater. During the coronavirus epidemic, we have been pushing to bring theater into the homes of people via Zoom, just so that you can still experience things. We do workshops, discussions. We bring Broadway stars in to join in those discussions and just kind of bring something else to the table so that theater doesn't stop when the door is shut of a physical theater. With that being said, we have these 12 wonderful actors from across the United States that are going to be reading Larry Kramer's The Normal Heart tonight. Being said that, we are here for the words. We're here to remember lives, here to remember experiences and stories. Last weekend, we had a lovely discussion about queer representation on the stage, and this story is a queer representation on the stage. This is talking about all the not so fun parts that you don't usually see. So, without further ado, sit back, turn up the volume, get a snack, and enjoy Larry Kramer's The Normal Heart.
I know something's wrong.
There's nothing wrong. Look, when you're finished, we'll go buy you something nice. What would you like?
We'll go somewhere nice to eat, okay? Did you see that guy in their spots?
You don't have those, do you?
No.
Then you don't have anything to worry about.
She said they can be inside you, too.
Not inside of you.
They're inside me.
Will you stop? Why are you so convinced you're sick?
Where's Bruce? He's supposed to be here. I'm so lucky to have such a wonderful lover. I love Bruce so much, Mickey. I know something's wrong.
Craig, all you've come for is some test results. Now stop being such a hypochondriac.
I'm tired all the time. I wake up in swimming pools of sweat. Last time she felt me and said I was swollen. I'm all swollen, like something ready to explode. Thank you for coming with me. You're a good friend. Excuse me for being such a mess, Ned. I get freaked out when I don't feel well.
Everybody does.
Whoever's next can go in.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
They keep getting bigger and bigger, and they don't go away. I sold you a ceramic pig once at Maison France on Bleecker Street. My name is David.
Yes, I remember. Somebody I was friends with then collects pigs, and you had the biggest pig I'd ever seen outside of a real pig.
I'm her 28th case, and 16 of them are dead.
Mickey, what the fuck is going on?
I don't know. What, are you here to write about this?
I don't know. What's wrong with that?
Nothing, I guess.
What about you? What are you going to say? You're the one with the health column.
Well, I'll certainly write about it in the native, but I'm afraid to put in stuff I write at work.
What are you afraid of?
The city doesn't exactly show a burning interest in gay health. But at least I've still got my job. The health department has made a lot of cutbacks.
How's John?
John? John who?
You've had so many, I never remembered their last names.
Oh, you mean John. I'm with Gregory now. Gregory O'Connor.
The old gay activist?
Old? He is younger than you. I've been with Gregory for 10 months now.
Mickey, that's very nice.
He's not even Jewish. Do not tell my rabbi.
I'm gonna die. That's the bottom line of what she's telling me. I'm so scared. I have to go home and get my things and come right back and check in. Mickey, please come with me. I hate hospitals. I'm going to die. Where's Bruce? I want Bruce.
Who are you?
I'm Ned Weeks. I spoke with you on the phone after the Times article.
You're the writer fellow who's scared. I'm scared too. I hear you've got a big mouth.
Is big mouth a symptom?
No, a cure. Come on in and take your clothes off.
Dr. Bruckner, what's happening?
I don't know.
In just a couple of minutes, you told 2 people I know something. The article said there isn't any cure.
Not even any good clues yet. And even if they found out tomorrow what's happening, it takes years to find out how to cure and prevent anything. All I know is this disease is the most insidious killer I've ever seen or studied or heard about. And I think we're seeing only the tip of the iceberg. And I'm afraid it's on the rampage. I'm frightened nobody important is going to give a damn because it seems to be happening mostly to gay men. Who cares if a faggot dies? Does it occur to you to do anything about it? Personally?
Me?
Somebody's got to do something.
Wouldn't it be better coming from you?
Doctors are extremely conservative. They try to stay out of anything that smells political, and this smells bad. As soon as you start screaming, you get treated like a nutcase. Maybe you know that. And then you're ostracized and rendered worthless just when you need cooperation most. Take your socks off.
Nobody listens for very long anyway. There's a new disease of the month every day.
This hospital sent its report of our first cases to the medical journals over a year ago. The New England Journal of Medicine has finally published it, and last week, which brought you running, the Times ran something on some inside page, very inside, page 20. If you remember, Legionnaire's disease, toxic shock, they both hit the front page of the Times the minute they happened, and stayed there until somebody did something. The front page of the Times has a way of inspiring action. Lie down.
They won't even use the word gay unless it's in a direct quote. To them, we're still homosexuals. That's like still calling blacks Negroes. The Times has always had trouble writing about anything gay.
Then how is anyone going to know what's happening? And what precautions to take? Someone's going to have to tell the gay population first.
You've been living with this for over a year? Where's the mayor? Where's the health department?
They know about it. You have a commissioner of health who got burned with the swine flu epidemic, declaring an emergency when there wasn't one. The government appropriated $150 million for that mistake. You have a mayor who's a bachelor and I assume afraid of being perceived as too friendly to anyone gay, and who is also out to protect a $1 billion a year tourist industry. He's not about to tell the world there's an epidemic menacing his city. And don't ask me about the president. Is the mayor gay?
If he is, like J. Edgar Hoover, who would want him?
Have you had any of the symptoms?
I've had most of the sexually transmitted diseases the article said comes first. A lot of us have. You don't know what it's been like since the sexual revolution hit this country. It's been crazy, gay or straight.
What makes you think I don't know? Any fever, weight loss, night sweats, diarrhea, swollen glands, white patches in your mouth, loss of energy, shortness of breath, chronic cough?
No, but those could happen with a lot of things, couldn't they?
And purple lesions, sometimes, which is what I'm looking for. It's a cancer. There seems to be a strange reaction in the immune system. It's collapsed, won't work, won't fight, which is what it's supposed to do. So most of the diseases my guys are coming down with, and there are some very strange ones, are caused by germs that wouldn't hurt a baby. Not a baby in New York City, anyway. Unfortunately, the immune system is the system we know least about. So where is this big mouth I hear you've got?
I have more of a bad temper than a big mouth.
Nothing wrong with that. Plenty to get angry about. Health is a political issue. Everyone's entitled to good medical care. If you're not getting it, you've got to fight for it. Do you know this is the only country in the industrialized world besides South Africa that doesn't guarantee health care for everyone? Open your mouth and turn over. One of my staff told me you were well known in the gay world and not afraid to say what you think. Is that true? I can't find any gay leaders. I tried calling several gay organizations. No one ever calls me back. Is anyone out there?
There aren't any organizations strong enough to be useful, no. Dr. Bruckner, nobody with a brain gets involved in gay politics. It's filled with the great unwashed radicals of any counterculture. That's why there aren't any leaders the majority will follow. Anyway, you're talking to the wrong person. What I think is politically incorrect.
What?
Gay is good to that crowd no matter what. There's no room for criticism, looking at ourselves critically.
What's your main criticism?
I hate how we play victim when many of us, most of us, don't have to.
Then you're exactly what's needed now.
Nobody ever listens. We're not exactly a bunch that knows how to play follow the leader.
Maybe they're just waiting for someone to lead them.
We are. What group isn't?
You can get dressed. I can't find what I'm looking for.
Needed? Needed for what? What is it exactly you're trying to get me to do?
Tell gay men to stop having sex.
What?
Someone has to. Why not you?
It is a preposterous request.
It only sounds harsh. Wait a few more years. It won't sound so harsh.
Do you realize that you're talking about millions of men who have singled out promiscuity to be their principal political agenda, the one they die before abandoning? How do you deal with that?
Tell them they may die.
You tell them.
Are you saying you guys can't relate to each other in a non-sexual way?
It's more complicated than that. For a lot of guys, it's not easy to meet each other in any other way. It's a way of connecting, which becomes an addiction. And then they're caught in the web of peer pressure to perform and perform. Are you sure this is spread by having sex?
Long before we isolated the hepatitis viruses, we knew about the diseases they caused and had a good idea of how they got around. I think I'm right about this. I'm seeing more cases each week than the week before. I figure that by the end of the year, the number will be doubling every 6 months. That's something over 1,000 cases by next June. Half of them will be dead. Your 2 friends I've just diagnosed, one of them will be dead, maybe both of them.
And you want me to tell every gay man in New York to stop having sex?
Who said anything about just New York?
You want me to tell every gay man across the country?
Across the world. That's the only way this disease will stop spreading.
Dr. Bruckner, isn't that just a tiny bit unrealistic?
Mr. Weeks, if having sex can kill you, doesn't anybody with half a brain stop fucking? But perhaps you've never lost anything. Goodbye.
Where do I go? Where do I go?
Quickly, put him on the table. What happened?
He came out of the building and he started running to me and then he collapsed on the ground.
What is going on inside your bodies? Gently, hold on to his chin. You the lover?
Yes.
What's your name?
Bruce Niles, ma'am.
How's your health?
Fine. What? Is this contagious?
I think so.
Then why haven't I come down with it?
Because it seems to have a very long incubation period and require close intimacy. Niles, you were Reinhard Holtz's lover?
How did you know that? I haven't seen him in a couple of years.
He died 3 weeks ago. Bruckner, emergency, set up a room immediately.
We were only boyfriends for a couple of months.
It's like some sort of plague.
There's always a plague, of one kind or another. I've had it since I was a kid. Mr. Weeks, I don't think your friend is going to live for very long.
Mr. Turner?
Bad timing. Mister?
My name is Ned Weeks.
You caught me at a rough moment. I have a deadline.
I've been told you're gay and might be able to help get vital information in the Times about...
You've been told? Who told you?
The grapevine.
And here I thought everyone saw me as the Burt Reynolds of West 43rd Street. Please don't stop by and say hello to Mr. Sulzberger or Abe Rosenthal. What kind of vital information?
You read the article about this new disease?
Yes, I read it. I wondered how long before I'd hear from somebody. Why does everyone gay think I run the New York Times? I can't help you with this.
I'm sorry to hear that. What would you suggest I do?
Take your pick. I've got 23 parties, 14 gallery openings, 37 new restaurants, 12 new discos, 105 spring collections. Anything sound interesting?
No one here wants to write another article. I've talked to half a dozen reporters and editors and the guy who wrote the first piece.
That's true. They don't want to write about it, and I can't. We're very departmentalized. You wouldn't want science writing about sweaters, would you?
It is a very peculiar feeling having to go out and seek support from the straight world for something gay.
I wouldn't know about that. I just write about gay designers and gay discos and gay chefs and gay rock stars and gay photographers and, well, gay models and gay celebrities and gay everything. I just don't call them gay. Isn't that enough for me doing my bit?
No, I don't think it's going to be.
I really do have a deadline, and you wouldn't like me to get fired. Who would write about us at all?
Guys like you give me a pain in the ass.
Are you in the book?
Yes.
Isn't it a bit early to get so worked up?
Don't you be like that too?
What have I done now?
My friend Bruce and I went out to Fire Island, and over the whole Labor Day weekend, we collected the grand sum of $124.
You can read that as either an indication that it's a beginning and will improve, or as a portent that heads will stay in the sand. My advice is heads are going to stay in the sand.
Because so many gay people are still in the closet?
Because people don't like to be frightened. When they get scared, they don't behave well. It's called denial.
What are these for?
Your account needs some more money. You never seem to do anything twice. One movie, one novel, one play. You know, you are now living on your capital. I miss your being in the movie business. I like movies.
What are those?
I've decided to build a house.
But the one you're in is terrific.
I just want to build me a dream house, so now I'm going to.
It looks like a fortress. Does it have a moat? How much is it going to cost?
I suspect it'll wind up over $1 million, but you're not to tell that to anyone, not even Sarah. I found some land in Greenwich by that little river completely protected by trees. Ned, it's going to be beautiful.
Doesn't spending $1 million on a house frighten you? It would scare the shit out of me, even if I had it.
You can have a house anytime you want one. You haven't done badly.
Do I detect a tinge of approval from the big brother who always called me a lemon?
Well, you were a lemon.
I don't want a house.
Then why have you been searching for one in the country for so many years?
It's no fun living alone.
There's certainly no law requiring you to do that. Is this Bruce someone you're seeing?
Why, thank you for asking. Don't I wish? I see him. He just doesn't see me. Everyone's afraid of me anyway. I frighten them away. It's called the lemon complex.
I think you're the one who's scared.
You've never said that before.
Yes, I have. You just didn't hear me. What's the worst thing that could happen to you?
I'd spend $1 million on a house. Look, Ben, please. We've started an organization to raise money and spread information and fight any way we can.
Fight who and what?
I told you, there's a strange new disease.
You're not going to do that full time.
I just want to help it get started, and I'll worry about how much time later on.
It sounds to me like another excuse to keep from writing.
I knew you would say that. I was wondering, could your law firm incorporate us and get us tax-exempt status and take us on for free? What's it called? Pro bono?
Pro bono for what? What are you going to do?
I just told you, raise money and fight.
You have to be more specific than that. You have to have a plan.
How about if we say we're going to become a cross between the League of Women Voters and the United States Marines? Is that a good enough plan?
Well, we have a committee that decides this sort of thing. I'll have to put it to the committee.
Why can't you just say yes?
Because we have a committee.
But you're the senior partner and...
I fail to see what bearing that has on this matter. You're asking me to ask my partners to give up income they would ordinarily come into their pocket.
I thought every law firm did a certain amount of this sort of thing. Charity, worthy causes.
It's not up to me, however, to select just what these worthy causes might be.
Well, that's a pity. What did you start the firm for?
That's one of our rules. It's a democratic firm.
I think I like elitism better. When will you know?
Know what?
Whether or not your committee wants to help dying faggots.
I'll put it to them at the next meeting.
When is that?
When it is.
When is it? Because if you're not going to help, I have to find somebody else.
You're more than free to do that.
I don't want to do that. I want my big brother's fancy, famous, big deal, straight law firm to be the first major New York law firm to do pro bono work for a gay cause. That would give me a great deal of pride. I'm sorry you can't see that. I'm sorry I'm still putting you in a position where you're ashamed of me. I thought we'd worked all that out years ago.
I am not ashamed of you. I told you I'm simply not free to take this on without asking my partner's approval at the next meeting.
Why don't I do that? When is the next meeting?
Next Monday. Can you wait until next Monday?
Who else is on the committee?
What difference does that make?
I'll lobby them. You don't seem like a very sure vote. Is Nelson on the committee? Norman Ivy? Harvey?
Norman and Harvey are.
Good.
Okay. Lemon, where do you want to have lunch today? It's your turn to pay.
It is not. I paid last week.
That's simply not true.
Last week was French. You're right. Do you know you're the only person in the world I can't get mad at and stay mad at? I think my world would come to an end without you. And then who would Ben talk to?
That's true.
You're getting better at it.
That is quite a library in there. You read all those books?
Why does everybody ask that?
You have a whole room of them. You must want to get asked.
I never fit that way. Maybe I do. Thank you. They go out of print and then you can't find them, so I buy them right away.
I think you're going to have to face the fact that you won't be able to read them all before you die.
I think you're right.
You know, I really used to like high tech, but I'm tired of it now. I think I want Shintz back again. Don't be insulted.
I'm not. I want Shintz back again too.
So here we are, two fellows who want Shintz back again. Excuse me for saying so, but you are as stiff as starch.
It's been a long time since I've had a date.
Ah, that's what's thrown you off your style. I called and asked.
Some style. Before any second date, all that starts with, now, I don't know what you had in mind, but can't we just be friends?
No. Are you glad I'm here?
Oh, I'm pleased as punch you're here. You're very good looking. What are you doing here?
I'll let that tiny bit of self-pity pass for the moment.
It's not self-pity, it's nervousness.
It's definitely self-pity. Do you think you're bad looking?
Where are you from?
I am from Oklahoma. I left home at 18 and put myself through college. My folks are dead. My dad worked at the refinery in West Tulsa, and my mom was a waitress at a luncheonette in Walgreens.
Isn't it amazing how a kid can come out of all that and wind up on the Times dictating taste and style and fashion to the entire world?
And we were talking so nicely.
Talking is not my problem. Shutting up is my problem. And keeping my hands off you.
You don't have to keep your hands off me. You have very nice hands. Do you have any awkward sexual tendencies you want to tell me about that I'm not already familiar with?
What are you familiar with?
Well, I have found myself pursuing men who hurt me before minor therapy. You're not one of those?
No, I'm the runner. I was the runner until major therapy, after people who didn't want me and away from people who do.
Isn't it amazing how a kid can come out of all that analyzing everything incessantly down to the most infinitesimal neurosis and still be all alone?
I'm sorry you don't like my Dr. Freud. Another aging Jew who couldn't get laid.
Just relax. You'll get laid.
I try being laid back, assertive, funny, butch. What's the point? I don't think there are many gay relationships that work out anyway.
It's difficult to imagine you being laid back. I know a lot of gay relationships that are working out very well.
I guess I never see them.
That's because you're a basket case.
Fuck off.
What's the matter? Don't you think you're attractive? Don't you like your body?
I don't think anybody really likes their body. I read that somewhere.
You know, my fantasy has always been to go away and live by the ocean and write 24 novels, living with someone just like you with all these books, who of course will be right there beside me, writing your own 24 novels.
Me too.
Harold Robbins marries James Missioner.
How about Tolstoy and Charles Dickens?
As long as Kafka doesn't marry Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky is my favorite writer.
I'll have to try him again.
If you really feel that way, why do you write all that society and party and fancy ball gown bullshit?
And here we go again. I bet you gobble it up every day.
I do. I also know 6 people who've died. When I came to you a few weeks ago, it was only 1.
I'm sorry. Is that why you agreed to this date?
Do you know that when Hitler's final solution to eliminate the Polish Jews was first mentioned in the Times, it was on page 28? And on page 6 of the Washington Post. And the Times and the Post were owned by Jews. What causes silence like that? Why didn't the American Jews help the German Jews get out? Their very own people. Scholars are finally writing honestly about this. I've been doing some research, and it's damning to everyone who was here then. Jewish leadership for being totally ineffective, Jewish organizations for constantly fighting among themselves, unable to cooperate even in the face of death. Zionists versus non-Zionists, Rabbi Wise against Rabbi Silver.
Is this some sort of special way you talk when you don't want to talk? Because we were talking so nicely.
We were?
Wasn't there an awful lot of anti-Semitism in those days? Weren't Jews afraid of rubbing people's noses in too much shit?
Yes, everybody has a million excuses for not getting involved. But aren't their moral obligations, moral commandments to try everything possible? Where were the Christian churches, the Pope, Churchill? And don't get me started on Roosevelt. How was I brought up to worship him? All Jews were. A clear statement from him would have put everything on the front pages, would have put Hitler on notice. But his administration did its best to stifle publicity at the same time as they clamped down immigration laws forbidding entry. And this famous haven for the oppressed became as inaccessible as Tibet. The title of Treasury Secretary Morgenthau's report to Roosevelt was Acquiescence of this government in the murder of the Jews, which he wrote in 1944. Dachau was opened in 1933. Where was everybody for 11 years? And then it was too late.
This is turning out to be a very romantic evening.
And don't tell me how much you can accomplish working from the inside. Jewish leaders relying on their contacts with people in high places were still quietly from the inside attempting to persuade them when the war was over.
What do you want me to say? Do you ever take a vacation?
A vacation? I forgot. That's the great goal, isn't it? A constant Fire Island vacation. Party, party, fuck, fuck. Maybe you can give me a few trendy pointers on what to wear.
Boy, you really do have a bug up your ass. Look, I'm not going to tell them I'm gay. And could I write about the few cases of a mysterious disease that seems to be standing in the way of your kissing me, even though there must be 500,000 gay men in this city who are fine and healthy? Let us please acknowledge the laws of averages. And this is not World War II. The numbers are nowhere remotely comparable. And all analogies to the Holocaust are tired, overworked, boring, probably insulting, possibly true, and a major runoff.
Are they?
Boy, I think I found myself a real live weird one. I had no idea. Hey, I just called you weird.
You are not the first.
You've never had a lover, have you?
Where did you get that from?
Have you? Wow.
I suppose you've had quite a few.
I had a very good one for a number of years, thank you. He was older than I was, and then he found someone younger.
So you like them older? You looking for a father?
No, I am not looking for a father. God, you are relentless and as cheery as Typhoid Mary.
The American Jews knew exactly what was happening, but everything was downplayed and stifled. Can you imagine how effective it would have been if every Jew in America had marched on Washington? Proudly! Who says I want a lover, huh? I mean, why doesn't anybody believe me when I say I do not want a lover?
You're fucking crazy. Jews, the child, final solution. What kind of date is this? I don't believe anyone in the whole wide world doesn't want to be loved. Ned, you don't remember me, do you? We've been in bed together. We made love. We talked, we kissed, we cuddled. We made love again. I keep waiting for you to remember something, anything, but you don't.
How could I not remember you?
I don't know.
Maybe if I saw you naked.
It's okay as long as we treat each other like whores. I was at the baths a few years ago. You were busy cruising some blonde number and I stood outside your door waiting for you to come back. And when you did, you gave me such an inspection up and down. You would have thought I was applying for the CIA.
And then what?
I just told you. We made love twice. I thought it was lovely. You told me your name was Ned. Then that when you were a child, you read a Philip Berry book called Holiday, where there was a Ned and you immediately switched from Alexander. I teased you for taking such a wasp up in Connecticut for the weekend name, and I asked what you did, and you answered something like you tried a number of things. And I asked you if that had included love, which is when you said you had to get up early in the morning. That's when I left. But I tossed you my favorite, go fuck yourself, when you told me I really am not in the market for a lover. Men do not just naturally not love. They learn not to. And I am not a whore. I just sometimes make mistakes and look for love in the wrong places. And I think you are a bluffer. Your novel was all about a man desperate for love and a relationship in a world filled with nothing but casual sex.
Do you think we could start over?
Maybe.
Hey, Ned, Gregory says hello, and he can't believe you've turned into an activist. He says, where were you 15 years ago when we needed you?
You tell Gregory 15 years ago no self-respecting faggot would have anything to do with you guys.
We're not activists.
If you're not an activist, Bruce, then what are you?
Nothing. I'm only in this until it goes away.
You know the Battle of Stonewall? The battle against the police at Stonewall was won by transvestites. We all fought like hell. It's you Brooks brother guys
That's
who...
why I wasn't at Stonewall. I don't have anything in common with those guys, girls, whatever you call them. Ned, Robert Stokes has it. He called me today.
At Glenn Fitzsimmons' party the other night, I saw one friend there I knew was sick. I learned about two others, and then walking home, I bumped into Richie Farrow, who told me he'd just been diagnosed.
Richie Farrow?
All this on 6th Avenue between 19th and 18th Streets.
Richie Farrow? Oh my God. I haven't seen him since Stonewall. I think we had a little affair lit.
Are you transvestite?
No, but I'll fight for your right to be one.
I don't want to be one.
I'm worried this organization might only attract like white bread and middle class. We need blacks.
Right on.
And how do we feel about lesbians?
Not very much. I mean, they're something else.
I wonder what they're going to think about all this. If past history is any guide, they've never been much support by either half of the other. Tommy, are you a lesbian?
I have done and seen everything.
How are you doing?
Okay now. I forgot to thank you for sending the flowers.
That's okay.
Funny, my mom sent flowers. We've never talked about me being gay. I told her Craig died. I guess she knew.
I think mothers somehow always know. Would you like to have dinner next week? Maybe see a movie?
Actually, it's funny. It happened so fast. You know Albert? I've been seeing him.
That guy in the Calvin Klein ads? Great.
I don't think I like to be alone. I've always been with someone.
We still have to choose a president tonight, don't forget. And I'm not interested. Oh, and what about a board of directors?
Mickey, how did you finally decide to say it? I didn't even look.
I just said the best medical knowledge, which admittedly isn't very much, seems to feel that a virus has landed in our community. It could have been any community, but it landed in ours. I guess we just got in the way. Oh God, we are going to have paranoia problems.
That's all you said?
Do you see what I mean? No, I also put a benefit dance announcement and a coupon for donations.
What about the recommendations?
I recommended everyone should donate $1 million. How are we going to make people realize this is not just a gay problem? If it happens to us, it can happen to anyone. I sent copies to all the gay newspapers.
Mickey, I thought we talked about this on the phone. We must tell everybody what Emma wants us to tell them.
She wants to tell them so badly, and she won't lend her name to recommending it. This is what Ned wrote for me to send out. If this doesn't scare the shit out of you and ruse you to action, gay men have no future here on Earth. Nettie, I think that's a bit much.
You'll scare everybody to death.
Shake up. What's wrong with that? This isn't something that can be force-fed gently. It won't work. Mickey neglected to read my first sentence.
It's difficult to write this without sounding alarmist or scared, okay? But then listen to this. I am sick of guys moaning that giving up careless sex until this blows over is worse than death. I'm sick of guys who can only think with their cocks. I'm sick of closeted gays. It's 1982 now, guys. When are you going to come out? By 1984, you could be dead.
You're crazy.
Am I? There are almost 500 cases now. Okay, if we're not sending it out, I'll get the native to run it.
But we can't tell people how to live their lives. We can't do that. And besides, the entire gay political platform is fucking. We get it from all sides.
You make it sound like that's all that being gay means.
That's all it does mean.
It is the only thing that makes us different.
I don't want to be considered different.
Neither do I, actually.
Well, I do.
Well, you are.
What is it we can only talk about our sexuality and so relentlessly? You know, Mickey, all we've created is generations of guys who can't deal with each other as anything but erections. We can't even get a meeting with the mayor's gay assistant.
I'm very interested in setting up some sort of services for the patients. We've got to start thinking about them.
Who is he?
He heard about you, and he found you, and here he is. My name's Tommy Boatwright. You should write that down. Tommy Boatwright. In real life, I'm a hospital administrator, and I'm a Southern bitch.
Welcome to gay politics.
Ned, I won't have anything to do with an organization that tells people how to live their lives.
It's not telling them, it's a recommendation.
With a shotgun to their head.
It's interfering with their civil rights.
Fucking as a civil right. Don't we wish?
What if we put it in the form of a recommendation from gay doctors? So that way we're just the conduit.
I can't get any gay doctor to go on record and say publicly what Emma wants.
What the fuck is this?
Oh no.
Look at this. Was this your idea?
I'm looking. I'm not seeing. What don't I see?
It's what we put for our return address.
You mean the word gay is on the envelope?
You're goddamn right, instead of just the initials. Who did it?
Well, maybe it was Pierre who designed it. Maybe it was a mistake at the printers, but it is the name we chose for this organization.
You chose. I didn't want gay in it.
No, we all voted. That was one of those meetings when somebody actually showed up.
Bruce, I think it's interesting that nobody noticed until now. You've been stuffing them all week at your apartment. We have to send these out if we want anybody to come to the dance. They were late from the printers as it is.
We can go through and scratch out the word with a magic marker.
10,000 times? Look, I feel sympathy for young guys still living at home on Long Island with their parents, but most men getting these, look at you. In your case, what difference does it make? You live alone. You own your own apartment. Your mother lives in another state.
What about my mailman?
Expect me to take that seriously.
Yes, I do.
What about your doorman?
What about him?
Why don't you worry about him? All those cute little Calvin Klein numbers you parade under his nose, he thinks you're playing poker with the boys?
You don't have any respect for anybody who doesn't think like you do you?
Bruce, I don't agree with you about this. I think it's imperative that we all grow up now and come out of the closet.
Okay, ladies, behave. Ned, you don't think much of our sexual revolution. You say it all the time.
No, I say I don't think much of promiscuity. And what's that got to do with gay envelopes?
You've certainly done your share.
That doesn't mean I approve of it or like myself for doing it.
Yeah, but not all of us feel that way. And we don't like to hear the word promiscuous used pejoratively.
Or so publicly.
Where the world can hear it, Bruce?
Look, sex is liberating. It's always guys like you who have never had one who are always screaming about relationships and monogamy and fidelity and holy matrimony. What are you, a closet straight?
Mickey, more sex isn't more liberating, and having so much sex makes finding love impossible.
Nettie, darling, do not put your failure to find somebody on the mortality of the rest of us.
Mickey, darling, I'm just saying what I think. It's taken me 20 years of assorted forms of therapy in various major world capitals to be able to do so without guilt, fear, or giving a fuck if anybody likes it or not.
I'll buy that.
Thank you.
But not everybody is so free to say what you think.
Or able to afford so much therapy. Although God knows I need it. Look, it's late and we haven't elected a president. Ned, I think it should be Bruce. Everybody knows him and likes him. I mean, everybody expects you to...
You mean he's popular and everybody's afraid?
Yes?
No.
No.
No. What it means is you have a certain kind of energy that's definitely needed, but Bruce has a presence that might bring people together in a way that you can't.
What's that mean?
It means he's gorgeous. And all the kids on Christopher Street and Fire Island will feel a bit more comfortable following him.
Just like high school.
Yeah.
Follow him where?
Well, honey, why don't we have a little dinner and I'll tell you all about it. And more.
Thanks. I'm busy.
Forever? Well, that's too bad. I wanted to try my hand at smoothing out your rough edges.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, it looks like you're the president.
I don't think I want this.
Oh, come on, you're gorgeous. And we're all going to follow you.
Fuck you, I accept.
Well, fuck you. Congratulations.
There are going to be a lot of scared people out there needing some sort of place to call for information. I'd be interested in starting up some sort of telephone hotline.
Sure, just prepare a detailed budget and let me see it before you take any commitments.
Don't you feel in safe hands already?
What is it you do for a living, if I may ask?
I'm a vice president at Citibank.
Well, that's nothing to be shy about, sugar. You invented the cash machine. So are we mailing these out or what?
What do you think?
I'll bet nobody even notices.
Oh, there will be some who notice, okay?
Okay. Our first adult compromise. Thank y'all for your cooperation.
Everybody, this is Felix. Bruce, Tommy, Mickey. Bruce just got elected president.
Oh, my condolences. Please, don't let me interrupt. Anybody want any Balducci gourmet ice cream? It's $18 a pint.
It looks like Nettie's found a boyfriend.
Thank God. Now maybe he'll leave me alone.
Shit, he got his own key. It looks like I signed on too late.
I worry about Ned. I mean, I like him a lot, but his style is so confrontational. We could get in a lot of trouble with him.
Honey, he looks like a good catch to me. We could get into a lot of trouble without him.
Okay, I'm going home. My Gregory, he burns dinner every night, and when I'm late, he blames me.
My boss doesn't know, and he hates gays. He keeps telling me fag jokes, and I keep laughing at them.
Citibank won't fire you for being gay. And if they did, we could make such a stink that every gay customer in New York would leave them. Come on, Bruce. You used to be a fucking Green Beret.
Goodness!
But I love my job. I supervise a couple thousand people over the country, and my investments are up to 20 million now.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Wait, I'm coming. I just think we have to stay out of anything political.
And I think it's going to be impossible to pass along any information or recommendation that isn't going to be considered political by somebody.
And I think it's an argument that you two boys are not going to settle tonight. I just want to tell you that I really admire your writing and your passion and what you've been saying and doing. And it's because of you that I'm here. Take care of this good man and don't let him burn out. Good night.
We just elected a president who's in the closet. I lost every argument, and I'm the only screamer among them. Oh, I forgot to tell them. I'm getting us something on the local news.
Which channel?
It's not TV, it's radio. It's a start.
Ned, I think you should have been president.
I didn't really want it. I've never been any good playing on a team. I like stirring things up on my own. Bruce will be a good president. I'll shape him up. Where's the ice cream? Do you think I'm crazy?
I certainly do. That's why I'm here.
I'm so glad.
That I'm here?
That you think I'm crazy.
You got your free legal work from my firm. Now, I'm not going to be on your board of directors, too.
I got our free legal work from your firm by going to Norman, and he said, of course, no problem. I asked him, don't you have to put it before your committee? And he said, nah, I'll just tell them we're going to do it.
Well, you got it.
Honorary board for the stationery.
Ned, come on. It's your cause, not mine.
That is just an evasion.
It is not. I don't ask you to help me with the Larchmont School Board, do I?
But I would if you asked me.
But I don't.
Would you be more interested if you thought this was a straight disease?
It has nothing to do with your being gay.
Of course it has. What else has it got to do with?
I've got other things to do.
But I'm telling you, you don't have to do a thing.
The answer is no.
It's impossible to get this epidemic taken seriously. I wrote a letter to the gay newspaper and some guy wrote in, oh, there goes Ned Weeks again. He wants us all to die so he can say, I told you so.
He sounds like a crazy.
It kept me up all night.
And you're crazy too.
I ran into an old friend I hadn't seen in years in the subway and I said, hello, how are you? He started screaming, you're giving away all our secrets. You're painting us as sick. You're destroying homosexuality. And then he tried to slug me right there in the subway under Bloomingdale's.
Another crazy.
We did raise $50,000 at our dance last week. That's more money than any gay organization has ever raised at one time in this city before.
That's wonderful, Ned. So you must be beginning to do something right.
And I made a speech appealing for volunteers, and we got over 100 people to sign up, including a few women. And I've got us on Donahue. I'm going to be on national TV with a doctor and a patient.
Don't tell your mother.
Why not?
She's afraid someone is going to shoot you.
What about you? Aren't you afraid your corporate clients will say, was that your faggot brother I saw on TV? Excuse me, is this a bad time? You seem preoccupied.
Do I? I'm sorry. The morning with the architect is enough to shake me up a little bit. It's going to cost more than I thought.
More?
Twice as much.
$2 million.
I can handle it.
You can? That's very nice. You know, Ben, one of these days I'll make you agree that over 20 million men and women are not all here on this earth because of something requiring the services of a psychiatrist.
Oh, it's up to 20 million now, is it? Every time we have this discussion, you up the ante.
We haven't had this discussion in years, Ben, and we grow just like everybody else.
Look, I try to understand. I read stuff. I open magazines and I see pictures of you guys in leather and chains and whips and black masks with captions saying, this is a social worker, this is a computer analyst, this is a school teacher. And I say to myself, this isn't Ned.
No, it isn't. It isn't most of us. You know, the media always dramatizes the most extreme. Do you think we all wear dresses too?
Don't you?
Me, personally? No, I don't.
But then you tell me how you go to the bathhouses and fuck blindly. And to me, that's not different from this. You guys don't seem to understand why there are rules and regulations, guidelines, responsibilities. You guys have a dreadful image problem.
I know that. That's what has to be changed. That's why it's so important to have people like you supporting us. You're a respected person. You already have your dignity.
We better decide where we're going to eat lunch and get out of here. I have an important meeting.
Do you? How important? I've asked for your support.
In every area I consider important, you have my support.
In some place deep inside of you, you still think I'm sick. Isn't that right? Okay, define it for me. What do you mean by sick? Sick unhealthy? Sick perverted? Sick I'll get over it? Sick to be locked up?
I think you've adjusted to life quite well.
All things considered. In the only area I consider important, I don't have your support at all. The single-minded determination of all you people to forever see us as sick helps keep us sick.
I saw how unhappy you were.
So were you. You wound up going to shrinks too. We grew up side by side. We both felt pretty much the same about mom and pop. I refuse to accept for one more second that I was damaged by our childhood while you were not.
But we all don't react the same way to the same thing.
That's right. So I became a writer and you became a lawyer. I'll agree to the fact that I have any number of awful character traits, but not to the fact that whatever they did to us as kids automatically made me sick and gay while you stayed straight and healthy.
Well, that's the difference of opinion we have over theory.
But your theory turns me into a man from Mars. My theory doesn't do that to you.
Are you suggesting it was wrong of me to send you into therapy so young? I didn't think you'd stay in forever.
I didn't think I'd done anything wrong until you sent me into it. Ben, you know, you mean more to me than anyone else in the world. You always have. Although I think I finally found someone I like. Don't you understand?
No, I don't understand.
You've got to say it. I'm the same as you. Just say it. Say it.
No, you're not. I can't say it.
Every time I lose this fight, it hurts more. I don't want to have lunch. I'll see you.
Come on, Lemon. I still love you. Sarah loves you. Our children, our cat, our dog.
You think this is a joke?
You have my love and you have my legal advice and my financial supervision. I can't give you the courage to stand up and say to me that you don't give a healthy fuck what I think. Please stop trying to wring some admission of guilt out of me. I am truly happy that you've met someone. It's about time. And I'm sorry that your friends are dying.
If you're so sorry, join our honorary board and say you're sorry out loud.
By agreeing you were born just like I was born is not going to help you save your dying friends.
Funny. That's exactly what I think will help save my dying friends.
Ed, you can be gay and you can be proud no matter what I think. Everybody is oppressed by somebody else in some form or another. Some of us learn how to fight back with or without the help of others, despite their opinions, even those closest to us. And judging from this mess your friends are in, it's imperative that you stand up and fight to be prouder than ever.
Can't you see that I'm trying to do that? Can't your perverse ego proclaiming its superiority see that I'm trying to be proud? You can only find room to call yourself normal.
You make me sound like I'm the enemy.
I'm beginning to think that you and your straight world are our enemy. I am furious with you and with myself and with every goddamn doctor who ever told me I'm sick and interfered with my loving a man. I'm trying to understand why nobody wants to hear we're dying, why nobody wants to help, why my own brother doesn't want to help. $2 million for a house. We can't even get 29 cents from the city. You still think I'm sick, and I simply cannot allow that any longer. I will not speak to you again until you accept me as your equal, your healthy equal, your brother. At the rate I'm going, no one in this city will be talking to me about 3 more weeks. I had another fight with Bruce today. I slammed the phone down on him. I don't know why I do that. I'm never finished saying what I want to, so I just have to call him back, during which I inevitably work myself up into another frenzy and hang up on him again. That poor man doesn't know what to do with me. I don't think people like me work at Citibank.
Why can't you see what an ordinary guy Bruce is? I know you think he has hidden qualities. If you just give him plant food, he'll grow into the fighter that you are. He can't. All he's got is a lot of good-looking Pendleton shirts.
I know there are better ways to handle it. I just can't seem to. This epidemic is killing friendships too. I can't even talk to my own brother. Why doesn't he call me?
There's the phone.
Why do I always have to do the running back?
All you ever eat is desserts.
Sugar is the most important thing in my life. All the rest is just to...
What was the fight about?
Which fight?
Bruce.
Pick a subject.
How many do you know now?
40. Dead. That's too many for one person to know. Kurt Morgan, this guy I went to Yale with, just died.
Emmerich Nolan. He gave me my first job on the Washington Post.
Bruce is getting paranoid. Now his lover, Albert, isn't feeling well. Bruce is afraid he's giving it to everyone.
Maybe it isn't paranoia. Maybe what we do with our lovers is what we should be thinking about most of all.
Hello? Hold on. It is no secret that I consider the mayor to be, along with the Times, the men and women must contend with in New York. Until the day I die, I will never forgive this newspaper and this mayor for ignoring this epidemic that is killing so many of my friends. All right, here's the end. And every gay man who refuses to come forward now and fight to save his own life is truly helping to kill the rest of us. How many of us have to die before you get scared off your ass and into action? Thank you. It's becoming known as the Ned Weeks School of Outrage.
Who was that?
Felix, I'm orchestrating this really well. I know I am. We have over 600 volunteers now. I've got us mentioned in Time, Newsweek, the Evening News on all 3 networks, both local and national, English and French and Canadian and Australian TV, all the New York area papers except the Times and The Voice.
You're doing great.
But they don't support me. Bruce, this fucking board of directors we put together, all friends of mine, every single one of them yelled at me for 2 solid hours last night. They think I'm creating a panic. I'm using it to make myself into a celebrity. Not one of them will appear on TV or be interviewed, so I do it all by default. So now I'm accused of being self-serving, as if it's fun getting slugged on the subway.
They're beginning to get really frightened. You are becoming a leader, and you love to fight.
What? I love it?
Yes.
I love to fight? Moi?
Yes, you do. And you're having a wonderful time.
Yes, I am.
I did speak to one of our science reporters today.
Felix! What did he say?
He's gay, too, and afraid they'll find out. Don't yell at me, Ned. I tried. All those shrinks, they must have done something right to you.
Dr. Malev, Dr. Ritvo, Dr. Gillespie, Dr. Greenacre, Dr. Harkavy, Dr. Klagsbrunn, Dr. Donadello, Dr. Levy. I have only one question now. Why did it have to take so long?
You think it's them, do you?
Doctor, I can't remember which one, said it would finally happen. Someone I couldn't scare away would finally show up.
At the baths. Why didn't you tell me you were a writer?
Why didn't you tell me you worked for the Times? That I would have remembered.
If I had told you what I did, would you have seen me again?
Absolutely.
You slut.
Felix, we weren't ready then. If I had it, would you leave me?
I don't I don't know. Would you? If I did?
No,
How do you know?
I just know. You had to have had my mother. She was a dedicated full-time social worker for the Red Cross. She put me to work on the Bloodmobile when I was 8. She was always getting an award for being best blood catcher or something. She's 80 now, touring China. I don't think I'm programmed any other way.
I have something to tell you.
You're pregnant.
I was married once.
Does that make me the other woman?
I thought I was supposed to be straight. She said I had been unfair to her, which I had been. I have a son.
You have a son?
She won't let me see him.
You can't see your own son? But didn't you fight? That means he's ashamed. So he will be too.
That's why I didn't tell you before. And who says I didn't fight? What happens to someone who cannot be as strong as you want them to be?
Felix, weakness terrifies me. It scares the shit out of me. My father was weak, and I'm afraid I'll be like him. His life didn't stand for anything, and then it was over. So I fight. Constantly. And if I can't do it, I can't understand why everybody else can't do it too. Okay?
Okay. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. Nettie, it won't go away.
You look very pretty.
Thank you.
Where's your cat?
Under my bed. She's afraid of you.
Do you think being Jewish makes you always hungry?
I'm not Jewish.
You're not?
I'm German.
Everyone thinks you're Jewish.
I know. In medicine, that helps.
How many of us do you think already have the virus in our system?
In this city, easily over half of all gay men.
So we're just walking time bombs, waiting for whatever it is that sets us off.
Yes. And before a vaccine can be discovered, almost every gay man will have been exposed. Ned, your organization is worthless. I went up and down Christopher Street last night, and all I saw was guys going in the bars alone and coming out with somebody. And outside the baths, all I saw was lines of guys going in. And what is this stupid publication that you finally put out? After all we talked about, you leave too much margin for intelligence. Why aren't you telling them bluntly, stop? Every day you don't tell them, more people infect each other.
Don't lecture me. I'm on your side, remember?
Don't be on my side. I don't need you on my side. Make your side shape up. I've seen 238 cases. Me, one doctor. You make it sound like there's nothing worse going around than measles.
They wouldn't print what I wrote. Again.
What do you mean they? Who's they? I thought you and Bruce were the leaders.
Now we've got a board. You need a board of directors when you become tax exempt. It was a pain in the ass finding anyone to serve on it at all. I called every prominent gay man I could get to. Finally, what we put together turns out to be a bunch of as timid as Bruce. And every time Bruce doesn't agree with me, he puts it to a board vote.
And you lose.
Bruce is in the closet. Mickey works for the health department. He starts shaking every time I criticize them. They won't even put out leaflets listing all the symptoms. Richard, Dick, and Lenny owe their job somehow to the mayor. Dan is a school teacher. We're not allowed to say his last name out loud. The rest of us are just a bunch of disco dumbies. I warned you this was not a community that has its best interests at heart.
But this is death.
And the board doesn't want any sex recommendations at all. No passing along anything that isn't 100% certain.
Well, you must tell them that's wrong. Nothing is 100% certain in science, so you won't be saying anything.
I think that's the general idea.
But then why did you bother to start an organization at all?
Now they've decided they only want to take care of patients, crisis counseling, support groups, home attendants. I know that's important too, but I thought I was starting with a bunch of Ralph Naders and Green Berets, and the first instant they have to take a stand on a political issue and fight, almost in front of my eyes, they turn into a bunch of nurses' aides.
You've got to warn the living, protect the healthy, help them keep on living. I'll take care of the dying.
They keep yelling at me that I can't expect an entire world to suddenly stop making love. I've got to tell them there's absolutely no such thing as safe sex.
Okay, I don't consider going to the baths and promiscuous sex making love. I consider it the equivalent of eating junk food, and you can lay off it for a while. And yes, I do expect it. And you get them to come sit in office any day of the week, and they'd expect it too. Get a VCR, rent a porn film, use your hands.
Why are you yelling at me for what I'm doing, for what I'm not doing? What the fuck is your side doing? Where's the goddamn AMA in all of this? The government has not started one single test tube of research. Where's the board of directors of your very own hospital? You have so many patients, you haven't got rooms for them, and you've got to make Felix well. So what am I yelling at you for?
Who's Felix? Who is Felix?
I introduced you to him at the health forum you spoke at.
You've taken a lover?
We live together. Emma, I've never been so much in love in my life. I've never been in love. Late Friday night, he showed me this purple spot on the bottom of his foot. Maybe it isn't it. Maybe it's something else. It could be, couldn't it? Maybe I'm overreacting. There's so much death around. Can you see him tomorrow? I know you're booked up for weeks, but could you?
Tell him to call me first thing tomorrow, 7:30. I'll fit him in.
Thank you.
God damn you!
I know I should have told you.
What's done is done.
What are we supposed to do? Be with nobody ever? Well, it's not as easy as you might think. Oh, Emma, I'm so sorry.
Don't be. Polio is a virus too. I caught it 3 months before the Salk vaccine was announced. Nobody gets polio anymore.
Were you in an iron lung?
For a while. But I graduated from college and from medical school first in my class. They were terrified of me. The holy terror in the wheelchair. Still are. I scare the shit out of people.
I think I do too.
Learn how to use it. It can be very useful. Don't need everybody's love and approval. You've got to get out there on the line more than ever now.
We finally have a meeting at City Hall tomorrow.
Good. You take care of the city. I'll take care of Felix.
I'm afraid to be with him. I'm afraid to be without him. I'm afraid the cure won't come in time. I'm afraid of my anger. I'm a terrible leader and a useless lover. How dare they do this to us?
It's 1:30. Maybe he's not going to show up. Why don't we just leave?
Keeping us down here in some basement room that hasn't been used in years. What contempt!
I'm sorry I let you talk me into coming here. It's not the city's responsibility to take care of us. That's why New York went broke.
What we're asking for doesn't cost the city a dime. Let us meet with the mayor. Let him declare an emergency. Have him put pressure on Washington for money for research. Have him get the Times to write about us.
The mayor's not going to help. Besides, if we get too political, we'll lose our tax-exempt status. That's what the lawyers in your brother's office said.
American Cancer Society, the Salvation Army, any charity you can think of isn't somehow political, isn't putting pressure on somebody somewhere. The Catholic Church, we should be riding herd on the CDC in Atlanta. They deny it's happening in straight people when it is. We could organize boycotts.
Boycotts? What in the world is there to boycott?
Have you been following this Tylenol scare? In 3 months, there have been 7 deaths, and the Times has written 54 articles. The month of October alone, they ran 1 article every single day. 4 of them were on the front page. For us, in 17 months, they've written 7 puny inside articles. And we had 1,000 cases.
So
the Times won't write about us. Why should we read it?
I read it every morning. The next thing you're going to say is we should stop shopping at Bloomingdale's.
We should picket the White House.
Brilliant.
Don't you have any vision of what we could become? A powerful national organization affecting change. Bruce, you must have been a fighter once. When you were a Green Beret, did you kill people?
A couple of times.
Did you like being a soldier?
I loved it.
Then why did you quit?
I didn't quit. I just don't like being earmarked gay.
Bruce, what are you doing in this organization?
There's a lot of sick people out there that need our help.
There are going to be a lot more sick people out there if we don't get our act together. Did you give up combat completely?
Don't fucking talk to me about combat. I just fight differently from you.
I haven't seen your way yet.
Oh, you haven't? Where have you been?
Bruce, Albert may be dying. Why doesn't that alone make you want to fight harder?
Get off my back!
Get off your ass!
Wonderful. We finally get a meeting with the mayor's assistant, and you two are having another fight.
I didn't have the fight. He had the fight. It's always Ned who has the fight!
Where the hell are we? What kind of tomb is this that they put us in? Don't they want us to be seen above ground? Where is he? I'm an hour late.
An hour and a half. And where's Mickey?
Not with me, Lamb Chop. I've been up at Bellevue. I put a sweet dying child together with his mama. They hadn't seen each other in 15 years, and he never told her he was gay, so he didn't want to see her now. He'd been refusing to see her for weeks, and he was furious when I walked in with her. And it was a real weeper. Mama holding her son, he's dead now. There's going to be a lot of mamas flying into town and not understanding why their son suddenly up and died of pneumonia. You two have been barking at each other for an hour and a half. Where am I?
Tommy, he makes me so mad.
DBS called. They want our president to go on Dan Rather. He won't do it. They don't want anybody else.
I can't go on national television.
Then you shouldn't be our president. Tommy, look at that. Imagine what a fantastic impression he would make on the whole country speaking out for something gay. You're the kind of role model we need, not those drag queens from San Francisco who shove their faces in front of every camera they see.
You want to pay my salary or my pension or my health insurance? I'll go on TV.
Both of you, stop it. Can't you see we need both of your points of view? Ned plays the bad cop and Bruce plays the good cop. Every successful corporation works that way. You're both our leaders, and we need you desperately.
Tommy, how is it not going on national TV playing good cop?
I couldn't get out of work. I was afraid you'd be finished by now.
Did you see his last Native article?
Another one?
What's so awful about what I said? It's the truth.
It's how you say it.
What did you say?
I said we're all cowards. I said rich gays will give thousands to straight charities before they'll give us a dime. I said it's appalling that some 20 million men and women don't have one single lobbyist in Washington. How do we expect to achieve anything ever at all by immaculate conception? I said the gay leaders who created this sexual liberation philosophy in the first place have been the death of us. Mickey, why didn't you guys fight for the right to get married instead of the right to legitimize promiscuity?
We did.
I get your drift.
Sure you didn't leave anybody out?
I said it's all our fault. Every one of us. And you are an hour and 45 minutes late. So why'd you bother to come at all?
Ned.
I presume I am at last having the pleasure of meeting Mr. Weeks' lilting telephone voice face to face. I'm truly sorry I'm late.
Mickey Marcus.
I'm Hiram Keebler.
Are you related to the folks that make the crackers? Tommy Boatwright.
Bruce Niles.
The mayor wants you to know how much he cares and how impressed he is with your superb efforts to shoulder your own responsibility.
Thank you.
Our responsibility? Everything we're doing is stuff you should be doing. And we need help.
What Mr. Weeks is trying to say, sir, is that we're all truly swamped. We're now fielding over 500 calls a week on our emergency hotline. People everywhere are desperate for information, which, quite frankly, the city should be providing, but isn't. We're visiting over 100 patients each week in hospitals and homes, and
one thing you could help us with is office space. We're presently in a small room, and at least 100 people come in and out every day, and no one will rent us because of who we are and what we do.
That's illegal discrimination.
We believe we know that to be true, sir.
Mr. Keebler, sir, it's not illegal to discriminate against homosexuals.
We've been trying to see the mayor for 14 months. It has taken us 1 year just to get this meeting with you, and you are an hour and 45 minutes late. Have you told the mayor there's an epidemic going on?
I can't tell him that.
Why not?
Because it isn't true.
Yes, sir, it is.
Who said so?
The government.
Which government? Our government?
No, Russia's government.
Since when?
The Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta declared it.
17 months ago.
How could you not know that?
Well, you can't expect us to concern ourselves with every little outbreak those boys come up with. And could you please reduce the level of your hysteria?
Certainly. San Francisco, LA, Miami, Boston, Chicago, Washington, Denver, Houston, Seattle, Dallas, all now report cases. It's cropping up in Paris, London, Germany, Canada. But New York City, our home, the city you are pledged to protect, has over half of everything. Half the 1,000 cases, half the dead, 256 dead. And I know 40 of them. And I don't want to know any more. And you can't not know any of this. Now, when can we see the mayor? 14 months is a long time to be out for lunch.
Now, wait a minute.
No, you wait a minute. We can't. Time is not on our side. If you won't take word to the mayor, what do we do? How do we get it to him? Hire a hunky hustler and send him up to Gracie Mansion with our plea tattooed on his cock?
The mayor is not gay.
Oh, come on, Blanche.
Fine.
Now, you listen to me. Of course, we're aware of those figures. And before you open your big mouth again, I would like to offer you a little piece of advice. Bad-mouthing the mayor is the best way I know to not get his attention.
We're not getting it now, so what have we got to lose?
Ned.
Bruce, you just heard him. Hiram here just said they're aware of the figures, and they're still not doing anything. I was worried before that they were just stupid and blind. Great. Now we get to worry about them being repressive and downright dangerous.
Ned! I'm sorry, sir, but we're under a great deal of strain.
Don't you ever apologize for me again. How dare you choose who will live and who will die?
Now, listen, don't you think I want to help you? I have a friend who's dying from this NBA hospital right this very minute.
Then why?
Because it's tricky. Can't you see that? It's very tricky.
Tricky shit. There are 1 million gay people in New York, 1,000,001 counting you. That's a lot of votes. Our organization started with 6 men. We now have over 600 active volunteers and a mailing list of 10,000.
600? You think the mayor worries about 600? A fire goes out in a school furnace on the west side between 72nd and 96th Streets. I get 3,000 phone calls in one day. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
If so many of you are so upset about what's happening, why do I only hear from this loudmouth?
That's a very good question.
Okay, there are 500,000 gay men in our area. 509 cases doesn't seem so high considering how many of us, you, there are.
This is bullshit.
Ned, let me take it. Sir.
Hiram, please. You are?
I'm Bruce Niles. I'm the president.
You're the president? What does that make Mr. Weeks here?
He's one of the founders.
But we work together jointly.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we do.
Carry on, Mr. Niles.
Look, we realize things are tricky, but
Yes, it is. And the mayor feels there is no need to declare any kind of emergency. That only gets people excited. And we simply can't give you office space. We're not in the free giveaway business.
We don't want it for free. We will pay for it.
I repeat, I think that is, the mayor thinks you guys are overreacting.
You tell that cocksucker that he's a selfish, heartless son of a bitch.
You are now heading for real trouble. Do you think you can barge in here and call us names? You are Michael I. Marcus. You hold an unsecured job with the State Department of Health. I'd watch my step if I were you. You got yourself quite a handful here. You might consider putting him in a cage in the zoo. That, I think, I can arrange with the mayor. I'd watch out for my friends here if I were you. The mayor won't have it.
I don't believe this just happened.
Mickey, I'm on the Today Show tomorrow, and I'm going to say the mayor is threatening your job if we don't.
The Today Show. You're gonna do what?
You can't do that.
Of course I can. He just did.
God damn it, Ned.
We're being treated like shit. And we're allowing it. And until we force them to treat us otherwise, we get exactly what we deserve. Politicians understand only one thing: pressure. You heard him. Him and his 3,000 West Side phone calls. We're not yelling loud enough. Bruce, for a Green Beret, you're an awful sissy.
So it is it.
Yes.
And there's not a doubt, a little bit of doubt in your mind. You don't want to call in Christian Bernard?
I'm sorry, I still don't know how to tell people. They don't teach acting in medical school.
Aren't you worried about contagion? I mean, I assume I am about to become a leper.
Well, I'm still here.
Do you think they'll find a cure before I... How strange that sounds when you say it out loud.
We're trying. We're trying, but we're poor. Uncle Sam is the only place these days that can afford the kind of research that's needed, and so far we've not even had the courtesy of a reply from our numerous requests to him. You guys are still not making enough noise.
That's Ned's department in our family. I'm not feeling too political at the moment.
I'd like to try a treatment of several chemotherapies used together. It's milder than others. You're an early case.
I assume that's hopeful?
It's always better early.
It also takes longer until you die.
Yes, you can look at it that way.
Do you want a second opinion?
Feel free. But I'll say this about my fellow hospitals, which I shouldn't. You won't get particularly good care anywhere. Maybe not even here. I'll call it Hospital A, you'll come under a group of mad scientists, research fanatics, who will try almost anything, and if you die, you die. You'll rarely see the same doctor twice. You'll just be a statistic for their computer, which they won't share with anyone else, by the way. There's not much sharing going on. There never is. You'll be a true guinea pig. At Hospital B, they decided they really didn't want to get involved with this. It's too messy. And they're right, so you'll be overlooked by the least informed of doctors. C is like the New York Times and our friends everywhere, square, righteous, superior, and embarrassed by this disease and this entire epidemic. D is Catholic, E is Jewish, F is... Why am I telling you this? I must be insane. But the situation is insane.
I guess we better get started.
We have. You'll come to me once a week. There are going to be a lot of tests, a lot of blood tests, a lot of waiting. My secretary will give you lists of do's and don'ts. Now, Felix, you understand your body no longer has any effective mechanism for fighting off anything.
I'm going to be all right, you know.
Good. That's the right attitude.
No, I'm going to be the one who kicks it. I've always been lucky.
Good.
I guess everyone says that. Well, I'm going to be the one. I wanted a job on the Times and I got it. I wanted Ned. Have I given it to Ned?
I don't know.
Can he catch it from me now?
We just don't know.
Did he give it to me?
Only 1 out of 100 adults infected with the polio virus gets it. Virtually everybody infected with rabies dies. One person has a cold, hepatitis. Sometimes the partner catches it, sometimes not. I don't think we'll ever know why.
So no more making love?
Right.
Some gay doctors are saying it's okay if you use rubbers.
I know they are.
Can we kiss?
I don't know.
I want my mother.
Where is she?
She's dead. We never got along anyway.
I'm going to do my damnedest, Felix.
Hey, Doc. I bet you say that to all the boys.
Hello? Yes, just a moment. It's another theory call? Okay, go ahead. Uranus.
Whose asshole are you talking about, Mickey?
Grady.
I thought your friend Little Vinny was going to show up today.
He had to go to the gym. Say again? Mystical electromagnetic fields ruled by the planet Uranus. Oh, yes, we'll certainly keep that in mind. Thank you and for calling and sharing with that.
Harry's in a payphone at the post office?
Just get his number. We'll call him back.
Give me the number. I'll call you back.
Philip, can you hold on? Graciela, you tell Senor Haram I've been holding for 10 minutos and he called me. See. You know where St. Vincent's is? You get your ass there fast. I'll send a crisis counselor there today. I know you're scared, honey. Just get there.
We'll call him back.
Mickey, do we have a crisis counselor we can send to St. B's around 6 o'clock?
No.
Shit. Hi, boss man.
Hello, how are you doing? It's Kessler in San Francisco.
Louder, Harry. It's a madhouse. None of the volunteers showed up.
Mystical.
Oh, dear.
No kidding.
Oh, dear.
Ned's not here yet.
San Francisco's mayor is giving $4 million to their organization. Well, we still haven't met with our mayor. We met with his assistant, but about 4 months ago.
Hiram called 3 days ago and left a message that he found some money for us. Try and get him back.
We need to train some more crisis counselors.
What about me, Mick?
Okay, get this. The Times is finally writing a big story. 20 months after the epidemic has been declared, the Times is finally writing a big story. Word is that Craig Claiborne took someone high up out to lunch and told them that they really had to write something. Anything.
Who's writing it?
Some lady in Baltimore.
Yeah, makes sense. Hello?
Oh, dear.
Grady, darling, what the fuck are you oh-dearing about?
Bruce, Harry says the post office won't accept our mailings.
What? Gotta go. Harry, what's the problem?
Yeah, that's awful.
They can't do this to us.
What is it now?
Harry went to the post office with 57 cartons of our new newsletters and...
Sugar, I sent him there.
Well, they're not going anywhere.
The office won't accept them because of... It's just our initials.
So what?
In order to get tax exempt, we have to have our full names.
Oh, there's a certain amount of irony in all of this. Though not right now.
He's double parked and his volunteers had to go home.
Brady, dear, will you go help him out?
No!
Brady!
No! Why do I always have to do the garbage stuff?
Grady!
Give me the phone. Hold on, Harry. I'm coming to help you. Give me cab fare.
Ride the rail, boy.
Harry, someone's coming. What's his name?
Grady.
Harry, bring them back. I want to fight this further somewhere. I'm sorry. I know it's a schlep.
So this means we either pay full rate or embarrass the mailman. Sorry, honey, I couldn't resist. Graciela, how do you say I've been holding 20 minutes in Spanish? City Hall is an equal opportunity employer. Doesn't mean that you all have to learn English.
That was the Atlantic. They're reporting 30 cases a week now, nationally.
30?
The CDC are filthy liars. What's wrong with those boys? We logged 40 cases in this office alone.
40?
40.
30.
So that's 30 national, 40 in this office alone.
You heard what I said. Hi, pick up for us, will you, dears? We need a little rest. Thank you.
Mickey, aren't you supposed to be in Rio?
Where's Ned?
He should be here by now.
I don't want to see him.
I need to talk to him. I won't lose my job because Ned doesn't like sex very much. He's coming on like Jesus Christ, as if he never took a lover himself.
Rio, why aren't you in Rio?
I was in Rio. I'm tired. I need a rest.
We're all exhausted.
You're the president. You can't have a rest.
I work all day for the city, writing stuff on breastfeeding versus formula and how to stay calm if you have herpes, and I work all night on our newsletter, and my health columns are for the native. I can't take it anymore, and then this.
Take it slowly.
Now what?
I was in Rio. Gregory and I are in Rio. We just got there the day before yesterday. I get a phone call from Hiram's office.
In Rio?
I'm told to be at a meeting at his office right away. This morning.
What kind of meeting? Why didn't you call me? I could have checked it out.
Because unfortunately, you're not my boss.
What kind of meeting?
I don't know. I get to City Hall and he keeps me waiting forever. Finally, the commissioner comes, my boss, and he said, I hope you have a nice vacation, and went inside into Hiram's office, and I waited some more. And the commissioner comes out and says, Hiram doesn't want to see you anymore. I said, please, sir, then why did you make me come all the way back from Rio? He says, oh, your vacation isn't over? I said, no, sir, I was there one day. I wanted to scream, I haven't slept in 2 days, you dumb fuck. What I didn't, what I said was, sir, does this mean I'm fired? And the commission said, no. I don't know. I don't think he means that. And then he just left. Look, Ned's article on the native attacking Hiram came out last week. I love sex, okay? I worship men. I don't think Ned does. Honestly, I don't think Ned likes himself very much.
What are you trying to say, Mickey?
You keep trying to make us say things we don't want to say. And I don't think we can afford to make so many enemies before we have enough friends.
We'll never have enough friends. We have to accept that. And why does what I say mean I don't like myself? Why is anything I'm saying compared to anything but common sense? When are we going to have this out once and for all? How many cases a week now?
30, 40.
Reinhard dead, Craig dead, Albert sick, Felix not getting any better. Richie Farrow just died.
Richie?
That guy, Ray Schwartz, just committed suicide. Terry's calling all his friends from under his oxygen tent to say goodbye. Soon we're going to be blamed for not doing anything to help ourselves. We're going to admit we might be spreading this. We have simply fucked ourselves silly for years and years. And sometimes we've done it in the filthiest places.
Some of us have never been to places like that, Ned.
Well, good for you, Tommy. Maybe you haven't, but others you've been with have. So what's the difference?
It's my right to kill myself.
But it is not your right to kill me. This is not a civil rights issue. This is a contagion issue.
We don't know that yet, and until they discover the virus, we cannot... We're not certain where this is coming from.
We know enough to cool it for a while and save lives while we do it. All it takes is one wrong fuck. That's not promiscuity, that's bad luck.
All right, so it's back to kissing and cuddling and waiting around for Mr. Right, who could be Mr. Wrong? Maybe if they let us get married to begin with, none of this would have happened. I think I'll call Dr. Ruth.
Will you please stop?
Mick, are you all right?
I don't think so.
Wrong. Tell Tommy.
Why can't they find the virus?
It takes time.
I can't take any more theories. I've written a column about every single one of them. Repeated infection by a virus, new appearance by a dormant virus, single virus, new virus, old virus, multivirus, partial virus, latent virus, mutant virus, or I don't know, retrovirus.
Take it easy, honey.
Oh no, we mustn't forget fucking or sucking or kissing, blood, voodoo, drugs or poppers or needles, Africa and Haiti. Cuba, blacks, amoebas, pigs, mosquitoes, monkeys, fucking Uranus! What if it isn't any of them?
I don't know.
What if it's something out of the blue? The Great Plague of London was caused by polluted drinking water from a pump that nobody noticed. Maybe it's a genetic predisposition or the theory of the herd. Only so many of us will get it and then the pool's used up. What if it's monogamy? And Bruce, you and I could actually be worse off because of constant bombardment of the virus from a single source, our own lovers. Maybe guys who goes to the baths regularly have a built-up immunity. I don't know what to tell anybody, and everybody asks me. I don't know. Who's right? I don't know. Who's wrong? I just feel so inadequate. How can we tell people to stop when it might turn out to be caused by... I don't know.
Exactly how I feel.
And Ned keeps calling the mayor a prick, and Hiram a prick, and the commissioner a prick, and the president of the New York Times. And that is the entire political structure of the entire United States. When are you going to stop your internal name calling at every person you see?
I just don't know where I'm at.
That's exactly how I feel.
But maybe he's right.
Also, this isn't my problem.
And that scares me too. Nettie, you scare me.
If I were you, I would get back on that plane to Gregory and Rio immediately.
Who's gonna pay my fare? And now my job. I'll make much, but it's enough to let me help out here. We're all the Rockefeller gays. Do you think the president really wants this to happen? Do you think the CIA has unleashed germ warfare to kill off all the queers Jerry Falwell doesn't want? Why should they help us? We're actually cooperating with them by dying.
Mickey, try and hold on.
To what? I used to love my country. The native received an anonymous letter describing top secret Defense Department experiments at Fort Detrick, Maryland, that have produced a virus that can destroy the immune system. Its codename was Firm Hand, and they started testing in 1978 on a group of gays. I never used to believe in shit like this, but they're going to persecute us. They're going to cancel our health insurance. Then they're going to test our blood to see if we're pure. Then they're going to lock us up and stone us in the streets. And you think I'm killing people?
Mickey, that is not what I said.
Yes, you do. And yes, it is. I know you do. I have spent 15 years of my life farting for our right to be free, for our right to make love whenever, wherever. You're telling me that all those years of what being gay stood for is just wrong? And that I'm the murderer? We've been so oppressed. Don't you remember how it was? Can't you see why it is so important for us to love openly, without hiding, without guilt? We were just some funny-looking fellows, and then we fell into those orgy rooms, and we thought we'd found heaven. We were going to teach the world how great heaven is. We were going to lead the way. We were going to be good for something. Don't you remember that? Can't you see that? Can't you?
I see that. I do, Mickey. Come on. I'm taking you home. Now.
When I left Hiram's office, I went to the top of the Empire State Building to jump off.
Mickey, I'm taking you home right now. Let's go.
You can just jump off if there's no one looking. Ned, I'm not a murderer. All of my life, I've been hated for one reason or another. For being short, for being Jewish. Jerry Falwell mails the most awful pictures of two men kissing, as if that was the most awful sight you could see. Tell everybody you were wrong. And I'm sorry. You know what? Somebody someday will come along and put a knife in you and tell you that everything you fought for your whole entire life is shit.
Need help?
And my coat. You're just a little tired, that's all. And a little bit yelled out. We got a lot of different styles that don't quite mesh. And we got ourselves a little bit of bereavement overload. Tommy's taking you home.
No, don't take me home. I'm just afraid I might do something. Just take me to St. Vincent's instead. I'm afraid.
I'll take you wherever you want to go. Okay, you two. No more apologizing and no more fucking excuses. You two had better start accommodating and talking to each other. We're in big trouble.
We're the fighters, aren't we?
You bet, sweetness. And you're a hero, whether you know it or not. You're our first hero.
We're all going to go crazy, living this epidemic every minute while the rest of the world goes on out there all around us as if nothing is happening, going on with their own lives and not knowing what it's like, what we're going through. We're living through war, but where they're living, it's peacetime. And we're all in the same country.
Do you want to be president?
I just want Felix to live. Hello, Hiram, old buddy. How are they hanging? I want to talk to you too. Tommy's right. All yelled out. You ready?
Yes.
The mayor has found a secret little fund for giving away money, but we're not allowed to tell anyone where we got it. Before it gets out, we've told we won't get it.
How much?
$9,000.
Ned, Albert's dead.
No.
What's today?
Wednesday.
He's been dead a week.
I didn't know he was so close.
No one did. He wouldn't tell anybody. You know why? Because of me. Because he knows I'm so scared I'm some sort of carrier. This makes 3 people I've been with who are now dead. I went to Emma and I begged her, please test me somehow. Please let me know if I'm giving this to people. And she said she couldn't. There isn't any way they can find out anything because they still don't know what they're looking for. I think I loved Albert the best. And he went so fast. His mom wanted him back in Phoenix. This was last week when it was obvious. I get permission from Emma and I bundle them all up and I take him to the plane in an ambulance. The pilot wouldn't take off and I refused to leave the plane. You would have been so proud of me. Finally, they get another pilot. And after we take off, Albert loses his mind. Not recognizing me, not knowing where he is, not that he's going home. Then right there on the plane, he becomes incontinent. He starts doing it in his pants and all over the seat. Shit, piss, everything. I pull the suitcase down and I pull out whatever clothes is in there and I start mopping him up. And people start staring and moving away in droves and I ram the clothes back into the suitcase and I sit there holding his hand. Albert, please, hold it in, no more. I beg you for us, for Albert and Bruce. When we got to Phoenix, there was a police van waiting for us. You know, the policemen were dressed in complete protective clothing, looking like fucking astronauts. By the time we got to the hospital, that his mom fixed up real nice, Albert was dead. No, wait, it gets worse. The hospital doctors refused to put a cause of death on the death certificate, and without a death certificate, the undertaker wouldn't take him. Finally, an orderly came in, and he stuffed Albert into a heavy-duty Glad bag. And he motioned with his finger for us to follow. He put him in the back alley with the garbage. And he says, "Hey man, see what a big favor I've done for you? I got him out. I want $50. So I paid him. Then his mom and I carried the bag to her car. And finally, we found an undertaker who cremated him. $1,000, no questions asked. Would you and Felix mind if I spent the night on your sofa? Just one night. I don't want to go home.
Dr. Bruckner, the government's position is this. There are several $1 million in the pipeline, 5 to be exact, for which we received some $55 million worth of requests, all the way from a doctor in North Dakota who desires to study the semen of pigs, to the health reporter on Long Island who is convinced it is being transmitted by dogs. And the reason so many gay men are contracting it is because they have so many dogs.
$5 million doesn't seem quite right for some 2,000 cases. The government spent $20 million investigating 7 deaths from Tylenol. We are now almost into the 3rd year of this epidemic.
Unfortunately, the president has threatened a veto. As you know, he's gone on record as being unalterably and irrevocably opposed to anything that might be construed as an endorsement of homosexuality. Naturally, this has slowed things down.
Naturally. It looks like we've got a pretty successful stalemate going on here.
Well, that's not what we're here to discuss today, is it?
I don't think I'm going to enjoy hearing what I think I'm about to hear. But go ahead, at your own peril.
We have decided to reject your application for funding.
Oh? I would like to hear your reasons.
We felt the direction of your thinking was imprecise and unfocused.
Could you be a little bit more precise?
I beg your pardon?
You don't know what's going on any more than I do. My guess is as good as anybody's. Why are you blocking my efforts?
Dr. Bruckner, since you first became involved with this, and we pay tribute to you as a pioneer, one of the few courageous pioneers, there have been other investigators. Quite frankly, it's no longer just your disease, though you seem to think it is.
Oh, I do I? And you're here to take it away from me, is that it? Well, I'll let you in on a little secret, Doctor. You can have it. I didn't want it in the first place. You think it's my good fortune to have the privilege of watching young men die? Oh, what's the use? What am I arguing with you for? You don't know enough medicine to treat a mouse. You don't know enough science to study boiled water. How dare you come and judge me?
We only serve on this panel at the behest of Dr. Juiced.
Another idiot. And, by the way, a closeted homosexual who is doing everything in his power to sweep this under the rug. And I vowed I'd never say that in public. How does it always happen that all the idiots are always on your team? You guys have all the money, you call the shots, you shut everybody out, and then operate behind closed doors. I am taking care of more victims of this epidemic than anyone in the world. We have more accumulated test results, more data, more frozen blood samples, more experience. How can you not fund my research or invite me to participate in yours? A promising virus has already been discovered in France. Why are we being told not to cooperate with the French? Why are you refusing to cooperate with the French? What, just so you can steal a Nobel Prize? Your National Institutes of Health received my first request for research money 2 years ago. It took you 1 year just to print up application forms. It's taken you 2.5 years from my first reported case just to show up here to take a look. The paltry amount of money you are making us beg for from the $4 billion you are given each and every year won't come to anyone until only God knows when. Any way you add this all up, it is an unconscionable delay, and it has never existed in any other health emergency during this entire century. While something is being passed around that causes death, we are enduring an epidemic of death. Women have been discovered to have it in Africa, where it is clearly transmitted heterosexually. It is only a question of time. We could all be dead before you do anything. You want my patients? Take them. Take them. Just do something for them. You're fucking right, I'm imprecise and unfocused. And you are all idiots.
This is perfect for our new offices. The room upstairs is just as big, and it's cheap.
How come, do you think?
Didn't Tommy tell you? After he found it, he ran into the owner in a gay bar who confessed after a few beers his best friend is sick. Did you see us on TV picketing the mayor yesterday in all that rain?
Yes.
How'd we look?
All wet.
He's got 4 more hours to go. Our letter threatened if he didn't meet with us by the end of the day, we'd escalate the civil disobedience. Mel found this huge straight black guy who trained with Martin Luther King. He's teaching us how to tie up the bridge and tunnel traffic. Don't worry, a bunch of us are doing this on our own.
Tommy got the call.
Tommy? Why didn't you tell me? When did they call?
This morning.
When's the meeting?
Tomorrow.
You see? It works! What time?
8 a.m.
For the mayor, I'll get up early.
We can only have 10 people. Hiram's orders.
Who's going?
The community council sends 2, the network sends 2, the task force sends 2, we send 2, and 2 patients.
I'll pick you up at 7:30 and we can share a cab.
You remember how we elected Tommy, executive directed?
I'm going.
We can only bring 2.
Just call Hiram and tell him we're bringing 3.
The list has been sent already.
So I'll just go. What are they going to do? Kick me out? Already phoned in? Too late? Why is everything so final? Why is all this being done behind my back? How dare you make this decision without consulting me?
Ned.
I wrote that letter. I got 60 gay organizations to sign it. I organized the picketing when the mayor wouldn't respond. That meeting is mine. It's happening because of me. It took me 21 months to arrange it, and God damn it, I'm going to go.
You're not the whole organization.
What does that mean? Why didn't Tommy tell me?
I told him not to.
You what?
I wanted to pull the board.
Behind my back. What kind of betrayal is going on behind my back? I'm on the board. You didn't pull me. I'm going to that meeting representing this organization that I have spent every minute of my life fighting for. And that was started in my living room, or I quit.
I told him I didn't think you'd accept the decision.
You would let me quit. You didn't have to pull the board. If you wanted to take me, you'd take me. I embarrass you.
Yes, you do. The mayor's finally meeting with us. We all feel we now have a chance to...
A chance to kiss his ass?
We want to work from the inside now that we have the contact.
It won't work. Did you get this meeting by kissing his ass? He's the one person most responsible for letting this epidemic get so out of control. If he'd responded with 1 ounce of compassion when we first tried to reach him, we'd have saved 2 years. You'll see. We have over $500,000. The Times is finally writing about us. Why are you willing to let me go when I've been so effective? When you need me most?
You're a bully. If the board doesn't agree with you, you always threaten to leave. You never listen. I can't work with you anymore.
And you're strangling this organization with your fear and your conservatism. The organization I promised everyone would fight for them isn't fighting at all. It's becoming the gayest.
Maybe that's what it was meant to become. Maybe that's all it could become. You can't turn something into something that it doesn't want to become. We just feel you can't tell people how to live their lives.
Drop that. Just drop it. The cases are still doubling every 6 months. Of course we have to tell people how to live, or else there won't be any people left. Did you ever consider it could get so bad they'll quarantine us or put us into camps?
Oh, they will not.
It's happened before. It's happened all before. History is worth shit, I swear to God. I now understand it. Is this how so many people just walked into gas chambers? But at least they identified themselves to each other and to the world.
You can't call people gay who don't want to be.
After you're dead, it doesn't make any difference.
The board wanted me to read you this letter. We are circulating this letter widely among people of judgment and good sense in our community. We take this action to try to combat your damage, wrought, so far as we can see, by your having no scruples, whatever. You are on a colossal ego trip we must coattail. To manipulate fear as you have done repeatedly in your merchandising of this epidemic is to us a gesture of barbarism. To exploit the deaths of gay men, as you have done in your publications across America, is to us an action of inexcusable vandalism. And to attempt to justify your bursts of outrageous temper as part of what it means to be Jewish is past our comprehending. And after years of liberation, you have helped to make sex dirty again for us, terrible and forbidden. We are more angry at you than ever in our lives towards anybody. We think you want to lead us, but we don't want you to. In accordance with bylaws as drawn up by Weeks, Frankel, Levenstein, Mr. Ned Weeks is hereby removed as director. We beg you to leave us quietly and not destroy us and all the good work we have managed despite your disapproval. In closing, please know we always welcome your input, advice, and help.
I belong to a culture that includes Proust, Henry James, Tchaikovsky, Cole Porter, Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, Alexander the Great, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Christopher Marlowe, Walt Whitman, Herman Melville, Tennessee Williams, Byron, E.M. Forster, Lorca, Auden, Francis Bacon, James Baldwin, Harry Stax Sullivan, John Maynard Keynes, Dag Hammarskjöld. These are not invisible men. Poor Bruce, poor, frightened Bruce. Once upon a time, you wanted to be a soldier, Bruce. Did you know that it was an openly gay Englishman who was as responsible as any man for winning the Second World War? His name was Alan Turing, and he cracked the Germans' Enigma code so the Allies knew in advance what the Nazis were going to do. And when the war was over, he committed suicide. He was so hounded for being gay. Why don't they teach any of us this in the schools? If they did, maybe he wouldn't have killed himself, and maybe you wouldn't be so terrified of who you are. The only way we'll have real pride is when we demand the recognition of a culture that isn't just sexual. It's all there. All through history, we've been there. But we have to claim it and identify who was in it and articulate what's in our minds and hearts and all our creative contributions to this earth. And until we do that, and until we organize ourselves block by neighborhood, by city, by state, into a united, visible community that fights back, we're doomed. That's how I want to be defined, as one of the men who fought the war. Being defined by our cocks is literally killing us. We must all be reduced to becoming our own murderers. Why couldn't you and I, Bruce Niles and Ned Weeks, have been leaders in creating a new definition of what it means to be gay? I blame myself as much as you. Bruce, I know I'm an asshole. But please, I beg you, don't shut me out. Why are you sitting on the floor?
Fell down, trying to get from there to here.
Let's put you to bed.
Don't touch me. I'm so ugly. I cannot stand it when you look at my body.
Did you go to chemo today?
Yes. And I threw it all up. You don't have to let me stay here with you. This is horrible for you.
No fallout yet. Phil looks cute shaved. I'm hungry. How about you? Can you eat a little? Please. You've got to eat. Soup, something light. I've bought dinner.
No, Emma says a cure won't come until the next century. Emma says it's years till a vaccine, which won't do me any good anyway. Emma says the incubation period might be up to 3, 10, 20 years.
Emma says you've got to eat.
I looked at all my date books, and no one I slept with is sick that I know of. Maybe it was you. Maybe you've been a carrier for 20 years. Or maybe now you only have 3 years to go.
Felix, we don't need to do this again to each other.
Whoever thought you'd die from having sex?
Did Emma also tell you that research at the NIH has finally started? That something is now possible? We have to hope.
Oh, do we?
Yes, we do.
And how am I supposed to do that? You Jewish boys who think you can always make everything great, that the world can always be a better place. Did I tell you that the Times is running an editorial on Sunday, this Sunday, entitled The Slow Response? And you're right, I didn't have anything to do with it.
Why are you doing this? Why are you eating this shit? Twinkies, potato chips. You know how important it is to watch your nutrition? You're supposed to eat right.
I have a life expectancy of 10 more minutes. I'm going to eat what I want to eat. Ned is going to get messier any day now, and I don't want to make you see it.
Nobody makes me do anything. You should know that better than anybody else by now. What are you going to do? Sit on the floor for the rest of your life? You have a bed in the other room. You could listen to those relaxation tapes we bought you months ago. You haven't used them at all. Do you hear me?
Yes. I hear you. That guy David, who sold you the pig on Bleecker Street, finally died. He took forever. They say that he looked like someone out of Auschwitz. Do you hear me?
No. Are you ready to get up yet and eat something?
No! I have had over 40 treatments. No, I've had 4 different types of chemo. No, I've had interferon, a couple kinds. I've had 2 different experimentals. Emma spent more time on me than anyone else. None of it has done a thing. I've had to go to the hospital 4 times, and please, God, don't make me go back into the hospital until I die. My illness has cost the New York Times' insurance company over $300,000. 85% of us are dead after 2 years, Alexander. It gets higher after 3. Emma has lost so many patients, they call her Dr. Death. You cannot force the goddamn sun to come out.
Felix! I am so sick of statistics and numbers and body counts and how many's and Emma. And every day, Felix, there are only more numbers and fights. I am so sick of fighting and bragging about fighting and everybody's stupidity and blindness and intransigence and guilt trips. You can't eat the food. Don't eat the food. Take your poison. I don't care. You can't get up off the floor. Fine. Stay there. I don't care. Fish. Fish is good for you. We don't want any of that, do we? No green salad, no broccoli. We don't want any of that. No, sir. No bread with 7 grains. Who would ever want any milk? You might get some calcium in your bones. You want to die, Felix? Die! Felix. Please. Don't leave me.
Thank you for seeing me. Your brother and I are lovers. I'm dying, and I need to make a will. Oh, I know Nettie hasn't been talking to you. Our excuse is we've sort of been preoccupied. It's a little hard on us, isn't it? His kind of love, because we disappoint him so. But it is love. I hope you know that. I haven't very much time left. I want to leave everything to Ned. I've written it all down.
Do you have any family, Felix?
My parents are dead. I had a wife.
You had a wife?
Yes, here's the divorce. And I have a son. She has custody.
Does she know you're ill?
Yes. I called and we've said our goodbyes. She doesn't want anything from me. She was actually rather pleasant, although she wouldn't let me talk to my boy.
How is my brother?
Well, he blames himself, of course, for everything from my dying to the state of the entire world, but he's not talking so much these days, believe it or not. You must be as stubborn as he is, not to have called.
I think of doing it every day. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were ill. I'll call him right away.
He's up at Yale for the week. He's in terrible shape. He was thrown out of the organization he loved so much. After almost 3 years, he sits at home all day, flagellating himself awfully because he thinks he's failed some essential test Plus, my getting near the end and you two still not talking to each other.
Ned was thrown out of his own organization?
Yes.
Felix, I wish we could have met sooner.
I haven't much except a beautiful piece of land on the Cape in Wellfleet on a hill looking over the Atlantic Ocean. Ned doesn't know about it. It was supposed to be a surprise. We'd live there together in the house he always wanted. I also have an insurance policy with the Times. I'm a reporter for the New York Times.
You work for the Times?
Yes. Fashion, la-di-da-da-da. It's meant to come to my next of kin. I've specified Ned. I'm afraid they might not give it to him.
If he is listed as the beneficiary, they must.
But what if they don't?
I assure you, I will fight to see that he gets it.
I was hoping you'd say that. Can I sign my will now, please? In case I don't have time to see you again?
This will be quite legal. We could stop by one of my associates' offices and get it properly witnessed as you sign it.
My little piece of paper is legal? Then why did you go to law school?
I sometimes wonder. You know, Felix, I think of leaving here too. Because I don't think anybody is listening to me either. And I set all this up as well. I understand that the virus has finally been discovered in Washington.
The story is they couldn't find it, so after 15 months, they stole it from the French and renamed it, with who knows how many million of us now exposed. Oh, there is not a good word to be said for anybody's behavior in this whole mess. Then could you get me a taxi, please? I have to get to the airport.
The airport?
I'm going to Romania to see their famous woman doctor. A desperation tactic, Tommy would call it. Does flying Bucharest Airlines inspire you with any confidence? I should be wearing something white.
You are.
It should be something Perry Ellis ran up for me personally.
What's this?
For my trip, I forgot to give it to you. This is a piece of rock from Dracula's castle.
Reminded you of me, did it?
To remind you of me. Please, learn to fight again.
I went to a meeting at the Bishop's. All the gay leaders were there, including Bruce and Tommy. I wasn't allowed in. I went into the men's room of the rectory, and the bishop came in, and as we stood there peeing side by side, I screamed at him, "What kind of house of God are we in?"
Don't lose that anger. Just have a little more patience and forgiveness for yourself as well.
What am I ever going to do without you?
Finish writing something, okay?
Okay.
Promise?
I promise.
Okay. It better be good. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Felix.
Emma, could we start, please?
We are gathered here in the sight of God to join together these two men. They love each other very much and want to be married in the presence of their family before Felix dies. I can see no objection. This is my hospital, my church. Do you, Felix Turner, take Ned Weeks,
Alexander,
to be your...
my lover. My lover. I do.
I do. He always wanted me to take him to your new house in the country. Just the four of us.
Ned, I'm sorry. For Felix. And for other things.
Why didn't I fight harder? Why didn't I picket the White House all by myself if nobody would come? Or go on a hunger strike? Forgot to tell him something. Felix, when they invited me to Gay Week at Yale, they had a dance in my old college dining hall just across the campus from that tiny freshman room where I wanted to kill myself because I thought I was the only gay man in the world. They had a dance. Felix, there were 600 young men and women there. Smart, exceptional young men and women. Thank you, Felix.
Okay, everyone. That is the end of the show. What an emotional roller coaster. So it's a round of applause for everyone involved there. Yeah, thank you all at home for tuning in. And we hope to see you here soon for the plethora of other readings we have going on. But I do challenge everyone at home to think about what they listen to and just think deep, think hard, and do some other reading. We'll link some other plays to check out in the description down below. But yeah, everyone.